Happy Devils Wednesday. This is the State of the Fan address. I am your host, Sam Wu, here with the infamous editor-in-chief of the Pucks and Pitchforks blog, Nick Villano. How you doing, Nick?
I was waiting. I didn't know if you were going to actually say my name. You were just kind of, it was that lull, that anticipation to see whether that introduction was coming, Sam. I did not know whether that was coming, but it came, it saw, and now we're here. And guess what we're doing, Sam?
Yeah, I actually blanked out for like 2 seconds what your name was, and then I realized you're Nick Villano, and we've got Vinnie Parise coming on a little bit later on the State of the Fan address.
Third.
Yeah, but
you can read the graphics that you made.
Yeah, I know.
Or you can remember my name since you talk like 10 times a week.
Well, we better get to the meat because we've got Devils fans wanting us to get straight to the meat when we do this podcast. So I think we should do that tonight. Episode 17, we are discussing, analyzing the 2019-2020 New Jersey Devils. We're streaming live on Facebook Live, facebook.com/Let's Go Devils podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Let's Go Devils Pod. YouTube Live. The YouTube Live channel is Let's Go Devils. It's the Let's Go Devils channel. Also Twitch. We got somebody interested in Twitch from Twitter, and we have an extra follower, so that gets us up to, I think, 13 followers on Twitch. We're moving up in the world, Nick. You can find us, I think it's twitch.com/Let's Go Devils. And obviously, we are streaming on the World Wide Web, letsgodevils.com. For those that are driving right now, you can get the audio feed there. So, Nick, you and I were discussing off air about where Gusev would fit in to this roster and this lineup, and what line he would be on. So I'll let you take it from there, where you think Gusev should be.
I mean, the starter is Gusev, right? The starter is Gusev, but it turned into an innovative way to do lines this year for the New Jersey Devils, because I think that Gusev acquisition changed a lot of things. And I know we overuse that phrase, it changed everything, but this one actually kind of did. Because before Gusev, right, you have a first line, Taylor Hall, Nico Hischier, and let's say Kyle Palmieri, just for argument's sake, right? And then your second line was going to be Jesper Bratt, Jack Hughes, and Wayne Simmons. Now, I like all three of those players, but that is a huge drop-off talent-wise. Like, Jack Hughes is going to be very good, but he's 18. Jesper Bratt is a really good player, but I think he's the fourth best when you compare him to everybody in that first line. And then Wayne Simmons, he had a down year. So it was kind of frustrating to look at it and be like, all right, so we're going to go into the season again, and we're going to have the first line, which is amazing, one of the best in the NHL. And the second line is better. Obviously replacing Zacha with Hughes is definitely an upgrade. So especially offensively. But you have Bratt, who, he's had some injury concerns, he's had some inconsistency concerns, and then you have Simmons, who is just not good in Nashville last year. So there was a lot of issues with that. Then you get Gusev, and now your second line is Nikita Gusev, two-time MVP of the KHL, Jack Hughes, the best prospect in all of hockey, and then you got options on that second line right wing. Again, for argument's sake, let's say it's Jesper Bratt. He's been the second line guy for the past, in and out for the past 2 years. So let's put him there. I think that it could be Jesper Boquist as well, and kind of, you could kind of, get creative with your lines, and I think Boquist would do better on a second line slot anyway. But either way, I think that with Gusev with Gusev in the fold, it changes how the Devils can do lines. I think that when you look at the Devils lines as a whole, I think the Devils could run 3 lines that run roughly 17 minutes a night. That way, you're not overworking Taylor Hall coming off a major knee injury. You don't have to worry about Jack Hughes hitting a rookie wall because you're not working him as much. He just has to really get used to that travel schedule rather than the high amount of minutes that he's playing against NHL competition. You're not overworking Wayne Simmonds, so he has the time to kind of find his game. He doesn't get, he doesn't have 10 shifts in a row where he's getting frustrated. He kind of can slow the game down a little bit. You have Travis Zajac, who's 34. He's getting up there in age, but he was a guy that the Devils played over 19 minutes a game last year. Travis Zajac has played 19 minutes a game in 6 of the last 7 seasons. So I know that, the Devils have 2 high quality centers to go above him for the first time in who knows how long, maybe ever. But I still think that John Hines is going to lean on him to take as many minutes as he possibly can in that defensive role. So I think the Devils are going to do things where they go a first line of Nico Hischier, Kyle Palmieri, Taylor Hall, 17 to 18 minutes. Then the Jack Hughes, Nikita Gusev, and Jesper Bratt a similar time, 17 to 18 minutes. And then that third line where it's Travis Zajac, Wayne Simmonds, and Blake Coleman, play them around 17 minutes. And then you're left with about 8 or 9 minutes a night for the Miles Wood, Pavel Zacha, and whoever that last guy ends up being. A lot of people have John Hayden in there. I'm not convinced that he has it yet. I could really see a Nathan Bastian there, or if they decide to bring in Boquist to play on the fourth line, although I don't like that. I kind of rather him play in Sweden than burn a year off that ELC. I don't know, Sam. What do you think of my innovative idea? Do you think that would work? Playing the Hall line 17 minutes, playing the Gusev and Hughes line 17 minutes, kind of go into the season like that.
Well, I'm going to do something innovative myself. Watch me go full screen.
Ooh.
Nick. Oh, yeah.
My beer.
And yes, I'm in an undisclosed bunker studio somewhere in beautiful New Jersey. I just had to put that up there. But yeah, I don't think Ray Shero spent all this money and was that active during free agency and making trades, signing Wayne Simmonds, if he didn't want to have John Hines roll 4 lines. I like that the 17 minutes per, because I think you and I have talked about it before, Nick, that I just felt the team was kind of burnt out during midseason. John Hines is, in all intents and purposes, he's a hard coach. He's driving them hard. And you got to save this team for the latter part of the year, come February, March, and April, when you're making that playoff push. And if you're in the mix, you're trying to get positioning for home ice advantage. I think you have to roll 4 lines. You can't. I mean, I thought the Devils, especially that playoff run year, they were very top heavy. There was one line that we all knew that was getting the job. But right now, they're going to run 4 lines, and they've got talent. And getting Gusev there, and I was thinking about it today, with Taylor Hall and re-signing, why he hasn't re-signed yet. Something tells me there's got to be something up with that knee. I have no, I didn't violate any HIPAA laws or I know anything. But there's something about that knee that, we need to see Taylor play first, and before he gets that big money. Did they trade for Gusev as somewhat of an insurance policy in case Taylor bolts at the end of the year, or if Taylor is really hurt and and it takes a little bit longer to recover, is that the reason why Ray, although great value, made that trade? Want to hear your thoughts?
Absolutely not. Just because they only signed him for 2 years. And Ray is think well far ahead. We had a couple pieces, and people are telling me it's too early to talk about this, but we had one piece that I wrote that came out today on the Seattle expansion draft, and we have one that's coming out tomorrow from one of our brand new writers. So look out for those. But a lot of people are telling me it's too early to think about this because the draft is in 2021, and it's absolutely not. Ray Sher was thinking 3, 5, 10 years in the future, because I feel like that was the window that he was given by Josh Harris and David Blitzer. I think David Blitzer and Josh Harris, this is their guy. So he gets the chance to think this far ahead, to make, decade-long moves. And I think he's going in there. A lot of GMs today make right now moves because if the right now move doesn't work, they won't get it next year. But Ray Sher was not in that position. So I think he gets to think far ahead, years ahead. And Gusev was a right now move. Gusev was I'm taking the pressure off Taylor Hall. I'm getting a guy at the nadir of his value. And I think that this guy can be an offensive juggernaut. And in 2 years, he might cost $11 million. And maybe the Devils can't afford him at that point. So, no, that's not going to be the guy that's going to replace Taylor Hall, because it would be a one-and-done situation.
Yeah, but it does ease the blow a little bit. But then again, you don't want to take a risk on a guy that you've never seen really play much in the NHL. I mean, we've seen the KHL highlights. He's definitely skilled. But it was just a thought that came in as I was randomly driving in the storms of New Jersey. I don't know if you knew about that, Nick, that it was thunder, lightning, and tons of floods out there on Route 78 today. I did read some of these comments in the Facebook group. I forgot who said it. He says, wow, just trying to keep up with these comments. But somebody said that Taylor Hall perform or you trade him at the deadline. I like that. I like accountability. Matt Junio writes, Sam Wu, where do you think Jesper Boquist should be if he makes the roster? I mean, we were just talking about that, Nick, but he wants my opinion. I haven't seen too much of him, but if he's that good, and you know what, start him off on the fourth line. That's what I say.
So here's my problem with that. Is I'm kind of on the fence, because you got him, if you put him on the fourth line, then you got him with Miles Wood and Pavel Zacha. And if you get Miles Wood from the playoff year, the year we went to the playoffs, that's a perfect match, because Miles Wood will do all the intangibles if he's playing like that. And Pavel Zacha will play good defensive hockey, so Boquist as a rookie can focus on offense. And like we said with Hughes on kind of a much lesser level, but he kind of gets used to the NHL style, the NHL, the NHL game and the NHL grind, while only having to play 9 to 12 minutes a night. And then he could work his way up. The second an injury happens, he's the guy that's going to the second line. So I think it could work. I just think it would work better if you put him on that second line with Hughes and Gusev. Move Bratt down, play him with, maybe then you kind of spread out the time even more, because then maybe you can have a third and fourth line, one being Coleman, Zajac, and Bratt, and then a fourth line of Wood, Zacha, and Simmons. And I know you didn't pay Wayne Simmons $5 million to be on the fourth line, right? I understand that. But we got to think bigger than those spectrums. This Devils team is not going to be a 1-2-3-4. I don't think that's how it is. John Hines has never really been that way, except for the year we made the playoffs, and it was first line and then the other lines. And then he played whatever line was hot more often. The fourth line could have been the line that played all the time. But when it came to, he played that first line a ton, and then he'd play the other lines. This year, I think he can play all of the lines as much as he possibly wants and just jump on the hot line. If that hot line is Wood, Zacha, and Boquist, which it very much well could be. We saw Zacha really take a step forward in those last 10 games. So, and we've said that, I feel like we've said this every year though, but if we could see Zacha take that next step and he's your fourth line center, tell me a better fourth line in this league than Miles Wood, Pavel Zacha, and Jesper Boquist. And by the way, the guy who said that Miles Wood isn't going to make the team and Brett Seney is, stop it. Just stop it.
Well, Jeremy Miller, I like this combo. Simmons, Zajac, and Coleman. What do you think of that combo?
Yeah, I mean, that's my third line right now. That's how I have it right now. Okay. But we know John Hines is the king of the put them in a blender. He puts those lines in a blender sometimes, and we just kind of like, I don't know what's going on with this team right now. And so usually he comes back to the norm, but like he'll throw a game in there where Gusev's on the first line, Hall's on the third line, and we're like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm. Well, it should be very interesting during preseason how this all plays out, the mixing and matching of lines. I mean, I normally don't go to preseason games, but this season, I want to go because I mean, there's so many different scenarios that we're going to see with all the young talent that's going to be in the lineup. Now, some of these prospects that are coming up, let's start with Ty Smith. What are your thoughts on him breaking the top six? Do you think he could do it?
Well, I do. And this is what we're going to be talking to Vinny about. We're going to be talking to Vinny about prospects. So we're stepping on his game, but that's okay. We get to do what we want. It's our show.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you this. I do believe that Smith's going to break the top six. I think they're, it's kind of interesting to burn an ELC on a guy like that. But I think with him, with a defenseman like that, he's still just such a question mark in what I think he's going to be. And that's specifically what I want to talk to Vinny about, because we got experts ranking him all over the map. I saw one place where he's top 10. I saw one place where he's almost outside the top 50. So I don't know. So that's what I want to talk to him about.
Yeah, sorry to kind of spoil the. Well, it's a little teaser, Vinny. Don't worry about it. We're not going to give away your segment. It's just a little teaser. So, but what do you guys think in Facebook Live? Let's and YouTube Live. We got users all over the place. I can't keep up with these comments. There's just a lot going through, Nick. But
no, I agree. I mean, I'm going to go through these comments. Why don't you go get our guest?
Okay, yeah. Why don't I get Vinny on the Bobby's Auto Care Highline? I'll be back.
Okay, so I'm seeing some things. Matt's talking about getting Ty Smith and Andy Green on the bottom pair. That's exactly what I want. I want Andy Green and Ty Smith together. That just makes sense to me. Smith has played on the right side a little bit, so he can do that. He did that a little bit in juniors when he was playing with Spokane, and then we have Andy Green, who I was out on Andy Green going into last year. I was done. I was overseeing him back there making mistakes. I was on the bandwagon of he's only playing because he's the captain. We've seen this show before. But then Andy Green, it was hard to say that anybody had a good season last year, but Andy Green had a good season last year. And I think he earned every penny of his $5 million. He led the NHL, all of the NHL, in blocked shots. Every single player in the NHL, I think there's 217 or somewhere in that ilk. He was the number one guy in blocked shots out of everybody. Yeah, maybe that's partially because he's not the best at getting the puck out of the zone anymore, but he's getting pucks away from Corey Schneider and Mackenzie Blackwood. And, the Devils' penalty kill at times was top 5 last year. And Andy Green, I believe, played the most or somewhere in the top 10 of the most penalty kill minutes in the league. I don't know what else you want from this guy. He's making too much money. Okay. we're not salary caps. We're not hurting on the salary cap, and his deal's over at the end of the year. So I think Andy Green actually is a really good person to have on that bottom pairing. Penalty kill. He can help Ty Smith along. When Ty Smith makes those mistakes, he knows he's going to have a veteran behind him to help him out, and then he can kind of focus on his offensive game, kind of like Butcher got to with Lovejoy a couple of years ago. And now, Lovejoy was much better last year than he was the first year he was here. And he kind of progressively got a little bit better. But that Butcher-Lovejoy pairing really worked. Now, the question I have, Umar, sorry if I messed up your name, but Umar says that he likes the Butcher-Severson pairing. That's what it looks like it has to be, right? Like, you're not going to put Will Butcher on the first line with PK Subban. And I think that you have to put Vatanen on that line because you're not going to put Vatanen on the third line. That's just a waste of an asset. So I think that you got to at least try the Butcher-Severson combo. They're going to be together on this team for at least the next 3 years. They're both around the same age. I think Severson, happy birthday to Damon Severson. He turned 25 today. And I believe that Will Butcher turns 25 in January, if I'm not mistaken. And Russell, the 7th D is going to be Connor Carrick. And they're going to carry 8. So Mueller's going to be the 8th. We're gonna carry 8D. It's just kind of how it is. That's how the Devils have rolled the past couple of years. I don't see it changing, especially with 8 one-way defensemen on the roster right now. Hey, Sam, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. I got Vinny on the Bobby's Auto Care hotline, and I talked to Vinny. I was actually apologizing to him. I'm sorry, I almost blew your segment. He's like, I don't care. I was laughing at you guys. So let's get Vinny on the Bobby's Auto Care hotline from Pucks and Pitchforks. Blogger Vinnie Parise. Vinny, how you doing, man?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
Pretty good. So let's go back to where I started from about Ty Smith. You think Ty Smith is going to break the lineup? Top 6 pairing?
Yeah, I do. Eventually, I don't know if he's going to be on there opening night, but I for sure think we'll see lots of Ty Smith this year because.
Wait.
What?
You don't think he's going to be on there opening? You think they're going to play Connor Carrick or Mirko Mueller over Ty Smith?
Well, it depends how the preseason goes.
He almost made the team last year.
That's what I was just about to say.
I'm going to yell at you, Vinny. I'm yelling at you.
But the way, no, we're good. The way the preseason went last year, I thought he was going to make the team last year. Didn't he get cut right before they left for Europe? I mean,
yeah, he got cut. He got cut right before he left for Europe. I think what happened last year.
Not debatable. He's making the team.
Yeah, I mean, I think he kind of has to make the team just because of the he's 19 and I'm like the rules change. I feel like every day, but I'm pretty sure that he has to go back to juniors or make the NHL team. He doesn't really have an in between. Yeah, and I think going back to juniors, I think we saw it actually hurt McLeod a lot to go back to Mississauga. I think that was part of the reason why we're trying to make up for a couple of things because he got hurt there. Well, he got hurt in the preseason with the Devils. And then they brought him back too quickly because Mississauga lost a lot of people that year, and he just wasn't ready. He lost a lot of confidence. It was bad. We don't want to do that again. So I definitely think he's going to make the team. I think he's going to make the opening night roster, barring any injuries to him. I think they like Carrick a lot, and I like Carrick a lot. I think they might run a couple games where they have 7D just because Carrick is good. But I think Smith could be better now at 19 years old, just with everything he brings to the table. He's going to be a power play beast. And I know the Devils have a lot of power play guys already, but I mean, Sammy Vatanen doesn't have to play on the power play. And that'll probably help him to give him some, that time off. And then you have Severson who played power play time. You have Butcher, who's a beast on the power play. And then you obviously have PK Subban. So, I think that might change a couple things, but I think you got to have Ty Smith on the roster opening night.
Well, you brought up Carrick. He's the thing that made me think they might not use Smith on opening night because they gave him a contract for a reason. Smith is 19. I don't know. You figure Vatanen, Subban, Green, Severson, and Butcher are locks if they're all healthy, and then that leaves the one spot. And it's unless they roll 7 defensemen, which is possible, but on opening night, 7 defensemen. I mean, I would put Smith. I would give him the chance on opening night, just based on how last year went.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to. I think you have to give him that shot. But what am I looking at with Smith? Because, I mean, we were talking about this off air. Man, I've seen places, or I actually brought this up earlier, but there's places that have him in the top 10 best prospects, and then there's places that have him outside the top 40. Why can't people why is everybody having such a different opinion?
I think where he was drafted has a lot to do with it, and the fact that he's not. I mean, he did win WHL Defensive Player of the Year, but I'm looking at the players ahead of him right now, and they're just guys. There's some in Russia. There are guys who were drafted in the top 10 this year. But do we really think Ty Smith doesn't have the same ceiling as Evan Bouchard or Noah Dobson? I think I'm happy with Ty Smith. I like him as the mid-teens rankings. I think the NHL Network got him right. I like him at 17 in the rankings. But the people who ranked him so low, I'm just assuming haven't seen what he's done.
Yeah, I mean, Spokane's kind of it's out there up in Washington State. So maybe you're right. Maybe they haven't seen what he's done. But like you said, he's won the awards. Usually that's kind of what gets the prospects moving up on these lists is when you get the awards, when you get that recognition. He has some pretty goals. He has a lot of highlights. He's been doing a lot of things. Maybe it's because we're all focused on, we have everybody's in love with I'm blanking on his name, the guy in the Avalanche, Cale Makar. And then you got Bowen Byram, who's an amazing defenseman that was drafted this year. So maybe he's just getting underrated because, like you said, he was drafted 17th overall, and he's on the Devils, who have Jack Hughes, who's the number 1 prospect, who we'll get to in a minute. But maybe you're right. Maybe that's the issue here.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like the WHL gets as much play as, say, the OHL or the QMJHL. Those leagues seem to get, and I don't know how true that is, but it just seems like Smith hasn't been the focus as much as some of these other defensemen, and I think that might hurt him on some people's rankings. But people like us who follow this team and know everything about as much about the prospects as we can, we see that Smith really has the potential. I mean, we're talking about opening night roster for a 19-year-old.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the NHL that we live in. I mean, there's going to be a lot of 19 and 20 and 21-year-olds on this roster because Weishaupt did a major job drafting. He did an amazing job drafting. And, next year there was an article out this week about Riley Walsh making the team next year. There's going to be a lot of young guys.
It wouldn't surprise me one bit. And I love that nobody's talking about Ty Smith personally. It goes beyond Ty Smith, just some Devils players in general. with Heishier, how underrated he is. Just when players like that are underrated, to me, it comes off as like, oh, nobody knows about this guy. They're not going to take him seriously. And then when he gets there, it's going to be like, whoa.
So let's move on. Let's move on to Hughes. He's the consensus number one on 90%. I saw one person put Kako, but that just seems like trying to, do something different and get viral or whatever. So I didn't even listen to that one. But what do you expect out of this guy being the number one prospect in the world? What do you expect out of him this year?
I almost have, I don't want to say unrealistic expectations because he was drafted number one overall for a reason, but I think he's going to be amazing. I don't see any reason why he can't be in contention for Rookie of the Year, the Calder Trophy. I mean, there are going to be some good rookies. Kako will have a good year. Makar is going to have a really good year. Quentin Hughes will be eligible, but all those guys are good, but I don't see a world, especially if he plays with Gusev or Bratt or Palmieri, he's going to get good wingers by November. Some people have him projected on the third line. I've seen him on the third line with some of these teams with Zajac on the second instead. But we all know by the end of the year, he'll be either on the second line or the first line. And there's no reason with his skills that he can't be very productive right away.
So, I mean, how productive? Give me, are we talking about a 60, 70, 80-point guy? Or are we talking about, Austin Matthews had 40 goals in his first year? Are we talking about that? Or are we, do we need to temper our expectations?
I don't know about 40 goals. I haven't seen Hughes as much of a shooter as Austin Matthews has been. I think of Clayton Keller's rookie year, and I think Hughes is probably going to be worlds better than Clayton Keller by the time it's all said and done, I hope. But if that's his floor, that's a really good player. He had over 70 points in his rookie year, and I see him making a lot of plays. If Hughes has 20 goals and I'll go 45 assists, I'm thinking that's a really nice year for year one.
So you said how many goals?
20. And then 45 assists, give or take, 65, 70 points. This could depend on some of his line mates, but if Gusev can translate his vision and skating ability to the NHL, I like the idea of putting Palmieri with Hughes and having Bratt play on the top line. Or I have that backwards. I like the idea of having Bratt play with Hughes and then Palmieri on the top line because I think that line would wheel. I think they would be so fast and so fun to watch, and they would just make plays with each other.
Yeah, I agree. I think, I just hope that, Hughes doesn't if Hughes has a Clayton Keller rookie year, I hope he doesn't have a Clayton Keller sophomore year because, my goodness, the sophomore slump for Clayton Keller last year was weird. Shooting percentage went from 10.8 to 7%.
And the thing with that, do we think Clayton Keller is going to do that again? No, I really don't. I think he's going to have a great year. I would be shocked if he had another bad year.
Yeah, I know, but Jack Hughes just doesn't seem like the kind of guy that's going to have a 35-point year or whatever, 45-point year.
That would be devastating if he had. That would be devastating if he had a 35-point year ever.
All right, so
unless he played in 35 games.
Yeah, injuries always happen, but let's expand on this real quick. Who else could play with Hughes? Let me ask you this, because I feel like the Devils are almost stuck with the same two options for lines, and it really only has to do with changing up the top six. You can either put Bratt there at the right wing, or you could put Palmieri there at the right wing, or you can go off the board and put Boquist there. But is there a possibility that Hughes could start the season on the first line? Is there a possibility he can be a third line guy, and maybe they put Zajac on that second line to start? What are the possibilities that you see with Hughes?
If Hughes struggles with physicality early on in the season, like, let's say he's just getting roughed up every shift. And it looks like he can't create room for himself, which is certainly possible because that just happens with smaller players who are skilled like that. I wouldn't be surprised if Wayne Simmons is a backup plan. I know a lot of people aren't going to like hearing me say that, but, Wayne Simmons might be able to help have some guys back off. If he's struggling with physicality, I could see him playing on the third line with Simmons and Coleman, which I still think would be a semi-productive offensive line. And then you have Zajac play on the second line with Gusev and Palmieri or Brett, however you want it to go. But part of me thinks he'll start off on the third line. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he plays on the second line right away. But even Nico played on the third line on opening night 2 years ago, or opening day, I guess it was.
So wait, so it was Henrique and Zacha ahead of him? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think Taylor Hall played with Zacha, and then they put Brad on the first line, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, the Zacha thing. All right.
They made a bunch of nice plays on opening day 2 years ago in 17, Nico's debut. And then, there was Zajac. I forgot about Henrique, too. Was Henrique playing wing, maybe?
No, Zajac was hurt.
That's right.
Remember Zajac? He had the pec injury right before in off-season training. Because I remember we thought we were like, season's over, Zajac's out, another lost season. It was doom and gloom in Devil's Land.
Yeah, it was a not fun August and September that year, and then ended up being okay. But you're right, Henrique and Zacha. How far we've come.
But it only took like a week for Nico to take that first line role.
Oh, yeah, when he had a pretty dominant game against Buffalo in Game 2, I remember, and it was off from there.
All right, so let's talk about Jesper Boquist. He's the other guy that I want to talk to you about because I'm big on this guy, but I've been watching more than, probably the prospects people have because the prospect people have 1,000 prospects to watch, right? And everything I'm seeing out of Boquist, he went from all right playing against men in the SHL 2 years ago. He was pretty good. He got 13 points in 23 games. Not bad. Last year, he did some things. Like, he was off the charts last year, and he'd make these amazing plays, and he's still, what was he, 19 now? He's still 19. He's 20 now. He's 20 years old. But he's that old adage, he's playing against men. So I think that this is a player that can be really, really good, but he's not even on the top 50 prospects list anywhere I see. Vinny, what's going on?
Yeah, that was my one beef in my article with this NHL Network's top 50 because I complimented them when I said I kind of like where they ranked Smith. There are a couple guys I'd flip around in the teens with Smith and all, but the fact that Boquist isn't on there at all, and I got all excited because I saw his brother there at 18, but it's Adam. And then just some of these players in the late 40s and Heppo Niemi at 50, it just is weird to me. He's the Devils' number 3 prospect, clearly, and he's just, like you said, really burst on over the last year to the point where we're thinking he might make the lineup. He might make the team.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's pretty clear that he definitely has a big shot. I mean, they signed him to the ELC this year. He looked really good in prospect camp, like really good. Like it was like Hughes and then Boquist and Smith. So I think that he does have a really good chance. But Sam's back, which means I think it's time for us to do a Let's Go Devils podcast first.
Okay. Well,
so
could you explain this? What we're about to do, Nick?
So we're gonna do the super original idea of playing a game on a podcast, and I use the super original idea of who would you bring if you were stuck on an island? It's an idea that nobody's ever used before. It's mine and mine only. But there are some rules. Obviously, we're going to make this Devils themed, right? And then I'm going to judge you, Sam, and you, Vinny. And then I'm going to let the people out there in the world judge you as well because we're going to run a poll to see who wins. Now, The rules are, now listen carefully, Sam. You have to have 2 current Devils players. You have to have 2 former Devils players. And you have to have 1 either coach or front office person from the Devils, past or present. And you are stuck on an island with them. And now you take a lot of things into consideration. You don't know how long you're going to be stuck on this island. You can take the strategy of getting guys who are going to help you get off the island, or you could take the strategy of guys you're going to be stuck with and you're going to have a really good time with until you do get off the island. So I'm very interested to see what you guys have to say. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to start with our guests. We're going to let Vinny go first, and then, we're going to give Sam the home field advantage. So, Vinny, tell me your crew.
All right. So I'll start it off by telling you how big of a hockey nerd I am. My idea of a good time is having a couple drinks, talking some hockey. So I'm going to probably worry less about the partying and having it, even though I do like to do that stuff too. But we'll go with the former players. I'm going to go with the reason I'm here to start off. And you guys aren't going to like this, but it's Zach Parise. Without him, I'm not a hockey fan. I never get into the Devils at all. So I'm going to
Vinny,
he's my favorite player of all time.
He's going to leave you on the island to go home the first chance he gets.
No, he's not. He doesn't have a choice. He's staying. And I hear from reliable sources that he's a big hockey nerd like us and just loves to talk hockey all day. So,
well, he may have to, spend about 20 days to make his decision whether he's going to leave the island or not. I don't know.
I know I already lost just by saying him, but I got to stay true to myself. And then, of course, the retired player is going to be Brodeur, of course. Bringing legends. Legends never die. Brodeur's coming with. We're going to have a great time. And then for the current players, I'll always have a special, I don't want to say bond because I don't know him personally, but I live in Chicago and I was at the draft where Nico Hischier was drafted. And there's just the fact that watching him bloom from the Devils' first ever #1 overall pick, that's my dude. I'm taking Nico. And then we're going to need a laugh. We're going to need to have a good time at some point. So PK Subban's coming along. And then for the coach or GM is the one I struggled with the most. Nick, you're going to like this. I'm bringing my laptop with me. I'm bringing Ray Shero along too, and we're just going to crank out so many articles. I'm going to pick apart his brain, and we are just going to blog all day long with what he has to say. We're going to learn about how the Nikita Gusev trade went down. It's going to be a good time.
No, I do like that. I like more content and more and much as you can give me. Now, but Vinny, I really wish I would have rather you have brought in Jordan Parise, let alone Zach. I mean, he's got your last name too, Vinny. He's got your last name too. He was on the Lowell Devils. Bring Jordan along.
Oh, I remember those days. Come on, Zach was a great player for us.
He's gonna ditch you on the island, Vinny. He's gonna leave you there, high and dry, crying, waiting. He's gonna have you sitting on Twitter wondering where he's going. That's what he's gonna do.
Okay, but maybe his boat that he leaves me using will end up like the Minnesota Wild without a captain or anybody.
Oh, so you're gonna say it's a sinking ship?
Promised land.
Are you saying that Zach Parise is gonna join another sinking ship?
Absolutely. But at least I'll get to have had my 5 minutes of glory hanging out with my favorite player until he leaves me again.
All right, Sam. Sam, don't disappoint me.
All right. Well, for 2 current players, my first choice would be Jack Hughes because he would be the youngest, so he'll be our gopher to get everything since he wouldn't have seniority on the island. And Blake Coleman. I would take Blake Coleman because that whole pickle juice thing. He seemed like a cool guy to hang out with. So those would be my two current players. Two former players, Scott Stevens, because the guy knows how to hunt. And I'm going to be hungry on the island. I'm going to be very hungry on the island. So you got to have Scott Stevens and Ken Danico, or maybe Chico. Now, you know what? I'll take Chico because Chico likes to eat. I like to eat. Scott Stevens likes to hunt. So he'll hunt us something on the island, and we'll eat with Chico. And he makes, when you eat with Chico, you eat anything. And the front office guy, at first I was going to say Marty Brodeur because he's technically, front office. But I'm going to say Joshua Harris. You know why? Because if I need to bail out, I could just say, hey, Josh, can you get your helicopter over here from the helipad and come to this island, pick me up so I can go home? So, and the guy's loaded, and maybe he can teach me some stock tips so I can retire and do this all day long. So those are my picks, Nick. Hopefully I didn't disappoint you.
I wanted to ask Chico so bad. I thought about it because the whole eat thing, I get hungry too. It crossed my mind that Chico eats thing. we all need something to eat, and Chico would be our guy for that for sure.
Yeah, but the problem with Chico is he's going to eat all your food.
That's true. It's not called Chico and Friends Eat. It's called Chico Eats.
Yeah, Chico don't care about you. Chico just wants to eat. He don't care about. He's going to eat all the pineapples and all the good food. He's going to leave you with the scraps.
Well, this is what's going to happen, right? So Scott Stevens is going to go around the island, and he's going to find a wild boar, and he's going to just slaughter that wild boar, kind of like Lord of the Flies, and Chico and we're going to turn it into Taylor ham. That's what it is. It's Taylor ham. And we're going to have it on the island.
You don't want to win, do you, Sam?
Well, what about your picks, Nick?
Okay. I didn't really think about this because I was the judge. But I was going to pick my current guys off the top of my head. I would pick Miles Wood because he would protect me at all costs. And he'd be really fast. So, he can, if we ever got into, trouble, he can, kind of just scooch around people, but he would always make sure that I am protected, and he would be a little maniac. And I would also take Jack Hughes because Jack Hughes is going to be uber positive the entire time. So when I'm getting all depressed because I'm stuck on this darn island, he's gonna be like, nah, man, it's okay. Cause we're alive and I'm amazing at hockey and we're going to get home and I'm going to play hockey for your favorite team. And it'd be amazing. So I'd be like, okay, fine. I will deal with that. For the older guys, I'm probably going to start with Sergei Brylin because he's loyal to a fault, and he would always stick by my side. And even though, when I'm cranky because I haven't eaten because I'm stuck on an island, he's still going to be, right by my side. And he's got probably every story in the book when it comes to Devils hockey. So he's a guy I would want to hang out with. And then another old guy from the Devils. I guess I'm going to have to go with... if I pick Ilya Kovalchuk, will Putin come and save us?
Oh, that's so bad. That's
I don't know. I'll go with Scott Stevens too because he's my favorite all-time player, and I hear good things about him. And then front office guy, I'm gonna go with Lou because Lou, he's got a plan for everything. He's going to get us out of there, and if we ever get into trouble, he's lived a really great life, and he could be a great distraction.
Whoa! This is your conversation with Lou on the island. If you're trying to get, hey Lou, do you have a plan? That's for me to know and for you to find out, and he won't tell you anything.
But he'll get me there. I don't need to know the plan. I just need it to work. I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and declare Sam the winner because he didn't pick, he didn't pick the wrong Parise like Vinny did. Vinny, I would have rather you picked yourself. Did we lose Vinny?
Are you still there? Did we lose Vinny?
Oh, it looks like we lost Vinny. Oh, he's there.
I'm glad that you guys. That was
all right.
That was crazy. Come on, you're really going to cut me off because I chose Zach. Come on, you loved Zach at one point. I know you did. He was probably your favorite player.
I'm always like a weird guy. I always like the weird guy. Like Henrique was my favorite player on the 2012 team. So Parise was not my favorite player. I never go for the superstars, except for when Stevens was, but I was like 10. That's
true. Who didn't love Henrique that year?
It was a great year.
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind having Lyle Odeline, a guy like that.
Well, how about?
I
bet you Valerie Zelapukin would get you in some crazy adventures. He just seems like the kind of guy that's like, he's like, let's go climb this weird tree that we've never seen that might have a snake in it. But that'll be fun.
Nobody brought up Jogger.
Well, somebody did. Sean did in the Facebook Live, and VJ did as well. Jeremy Miller, PK, and Simmons, John Madden, Jamie Langenbrunner, and Lou Lamorello, Brodeur. Gary was, I think it was Gary said that his head was spinning, and he needs that shirt, and he needs that shirt that I'm wearing. It's Taylor Ham. So, yeah, these are good comments. Sarge, Peluso, yeah. Bobby Holik. But yeah, you know what? I think you need to have Scott Stevens to survive because the guy's a hunter. He'll get it for you. He'll have to, run into a wild boar.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, you got to eat. You got to eat, and then who are you going to eat with? You got to eat with Chico. Who else are you going to eat with? Jack Hughes is like with Jack Hughes. I mean, anything he touches turns to gold. Plus, he's the youngest one on the island, so he's going to be my gopher. Jack, why don't you go get some branches together and we'll start a fire?
And he probably doesn't eat that much.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't eat that much either, so more for you.
Yeah, so I'll eat some of that wild boar Taylor ham, off of Jack Hughes' plate,
Oh, all right. This is off the rails, and it's mostly my fault. So, Vinny, you're still my favorite Parise. But if you leave me for another blog, I will be very upset. But we enjoyed having you on.
I'm here forever. Thanks for having me.
All right. Have a nice night. Sam, how do you feel being Vinny. The winner?
Me? Well, you know what? I've got some winning music in the queue right now. So
all right.
Yeah. So,
Sam, we're going to have
winners. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say we're going to have to make a harder game for you next week.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool game, though. It only took me you have to when you're picking these players, you can't think about it. You just got to go with your heart. I'm thinking to myself because when I read your email about this game, I'm like, okay, where are we going with this game? Because it could go either way. We're stranded on the island. Are we playing hockey to get off the island, or are these? So I wasn't sure. That's why I had to have you explain.
Oh, you thought this was like a Space Jam situation?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know what I was thinking, but it was a good show rundown email. It's just I was confused with that one part. But yeah, we actually have, I guess before we end the podcast, because we're getting to the top of the hour. So we did 2 polls in the last week, and we got to go over some of these results here because there's a contest that's involved. Shorts Guys T-shirt contest. He wanted to know which color to print, the green or the yellow. Let's Go Devils podcast spoof of some road sign in New Jersey. Don't want to say too much, but the winner gets the first shirt ever printed.
Ooh.
And we have a winner. Let's go over the polls here. Sorry, I don't have the graphics to put up on the feed, on the live video feeds, but there was green and yellow, and it was 69% green and 31% yellow. So green was overwhelmingly the winner, and the contest is if you voted for green, you will be randomly selected to get the first printed T-shirt ever. And Shorts Guy ran it through the computer, and it spit out a name. And we will contact you if you're not watching the live feed right now. Stephen Moss. Stephen Moss.
Oh, yay!
Big Devils fan.
Wait, Sam,
is the
that's
winner
not me.
of the. No.
I thought we rigged
send...
this so I could win.
No, we can't do that. We'll lose a lot of podcast fans, right? So Stephen Moss. Stephen spelled Stephen Moss. I don't know this guy. I'll have to private message him. Congratulations. You're the winner of the T-shirt contest. And we had over 378 voters on Facebook. So it was a Facebook contest. And also the other poll. Let's talk about the other poll, because there was two polls, one on Twitter and one on Facebook. Is it Taylor ham or a pork roll? And we got this poll out before that whole Mick Jagger thing that went on at the Rolling Stones concert, which I was there, by the way, on the Thursday one when he said it's Taylor ham. And then all the pork roll people just mobbed him with death threats, probably. And then just to be diplomatic, you know how the British are, he said pork roll at the second concert. But since I wasn't there, it didn't happen. It's kind of like, if the tree falls in the forest and you weren't there to hear it, did it make sound? In this case, no, it didn't make sound because it didn't happen. But that's, so going through this poll, it was 61%, 39%. It's Taylor ham that won. It's Taylor ham that won. And that's why I'm wearing this T-shirt. And I will be going to places in beautiful New Jersey with my video camera, just like that guy in, Barstool Sports, the pizza thing. I'm going to search for the greatest Taylor ham. Now, if there's a restaurant that calls it pork roll, I will not go there. I bet you it just tastes bad. I have no idea. But I will only go to breakfast places that says it's Taylor ham, try it out, promote their business. They're not paying me. I'm just doing this as a public service deed to the public, that it's always been Taylor ham. And I know, Nick, that you and I disagree on this, but the polls show on Facebook 61-39, same thing on Twitter, believe it or not. 235 voters for the Facebook poll, and I think Twitter had more. I think it had over 300. So thank you for participating in that. And actually, when we did that poll, admittedly, I have to say in full disclosure, the reason why we did that poll is strictly because we wanted to test the polling system before the T-shirt contest. But anyway, Nick, that's all I have to say about that. So congratulations, Stephen Moss. We will reach out to you and send you that first printed T-shirt.
Sam, all I got to say is I don't think that listening to Facebook, no, actually, as a journalist myself in my day job, I've learned that most facts on Facebook are absolutely true. So I guess you're right.
Of course it is. Of course it is. You don't have to verify sources anymore.
If it's on Facebook, it must be true. I saw it on the internet.
Must be true.
Therefore, it is correct.
Yes, that's what I always say as well. So
Sam, it was a good podcast. It was a great time. Did you like the game? The game was fun.
You know what? It was actually a really fun game. We got to play more games.
Yeah,
More
I
games.
think I just started a revolution for the Let's Go Devils podcast, State of the Fan Address.
Yeah, well, you know what? The Let's Go Devils podcast does that little corny Devils trivia minute. I don't know if you've been listening to that. That it drops, maybe once or twice a week, where we play a little trivia and you try to guess what the answer is. You can get that on our subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Google, iHeart, Spotify. We're all over the place.
Sam, what I do is I download it and then I delete it and then I download it again. And I suggest that everyone out there do the same thing.
Why do you do that? Spike our numbers?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I got to beat the system. The evil empire that is Apple. I will ruin you.
Well, before we go, Nick, I will say, our viewership numbers are in the thousands per episode, but I saw last week's numbers. We're about 3,000 downloads a week, downloads and on-demand plays a week. That's amazing, and we're just in the off season, right? We're just in the off season, just priming it up.
Yeah, I mean the fans. I mean Devils fans are. I mean we love the Devils fans. Devils fans are the best fans in hockey, the best fans in sports. They're crazy when on certain things, and a lot of us are split on certain subjects. But man, we always come back and we always have a beer with everybody and hug everybody when somebody scores. So it's really great to do a podcast for just the best fans ever.
Absolutely. Well, we got some big guests coming up in the next couple weeks. We'll be back next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, State of the Fan Address. So let's end the podcast. You can find it. It'll be dropped by midnight tonight. And keep up with us on social media at Let's Go Devils Pod and Facebook.com/ at Let's Go Devils. Till next time, Devils fans, let's go Devils.